Good evening, one and all. My name is Anubhav Gupta, and here is my teammate Akash Jain.
Very good evening to all.
We are here for providing a solution regarding TCS Inframind using artificial intelligence technology. So, for development of our model, we are using agile methodology or agile technique. So, what actually is agile methodology? So it is a modular development where each and every task is going to divide and converted into several submodules. So these modules are divided between us and we are going to collaborate our particular solutions and provide a final result. Now essentially we are using three methods or modules. So these are IBM Watson Assistant Service and IBM Watson Discovery Service as a REST APIs and Node.js for backend purpose. Now uh, I'm going to give a brief introduction about the problem statement. So this is our problem statement which is which contains various requirements which are incorporated with the bot. So it is like various notifications and updates regarding schedules, and we are having fun learning with bot regarding health tips, Facebook integration with the Facebook updates. So now now let's directly jump into IBM Watson Assistant Service. So this is the page of IBM Watson Assistant where we created our bot named My Health Assistant. So okay, so there are three main things: intents, entities, and dialogues, which play an important role. Now, what are the intents? Intents are the intention behind the user. What are thinking behind the user, or the user in how many ways he is going to input queries to the bot. So as you can see here, there are various intents named like arthritis. So I can see you the examples we are created in a particular intent. So as you can see here, there are about 7 and 8 examples for each intents. So I'm going to open the first intent is arthritis. Now there are various examples. So these are the ways or the types uh, by the input provided to the bot by the user. So the creation of these several examples is to recognize the bot, and we are making the bot accordingly, or we are training the bot accordingly. Now okay, so moving forward to the next important thing, which is entities. Entities are the set of attributes having more than one values. So we are creating about two entities, uh, name, city, and yes, no, having their values. Now moving to the dialog nodes. Okay, so dialog nodes dialog nodes are helpful, or by the dialog nodes we are creating the conversational interface which is going to conversate with the user. Okay, so these are various dialog nodes. Now suppose this is first dialog node, welcome. So in this it already or default response is created, as you can see here. So it is in text form. So if you want to create more so if you are going to provide more responses with their respective dialogue nodes, so how you can going to implement them? Suppose this is intent or dialogue node is osteoporosis. Now you can provide the response in various formats like text, option, pause, and image, and this can be set accordingly. So one more thing is I want to tell you is that in the welcome node, if new user is going to interact with the bot, so this is the default statement which is displayed in the bot page, and after that he can be able or he can use the bot easily. So now moving towards the further dialogue nodes, like heart attack. Okay, so in heart attack we are providing various context variables like query and action. So query is that input, like having its value heart attack, or it may be differ, which is totally depend on the user. Now what assistant do, it takes some actions by calling the discovery service API. Now it is done by call discovery. Now uh, uh, now let's see how discovery is using and what is the role of discovery. Okay, so the main idea behind using IBM Watson Discovery Service is to provide more detailed solution to the user, or if a user want a long detailed response from the bot, so IBM Watson Discovery is having an importance to it. So So before begin, we are we are uploading the data set to the IBM Watson Discovery, and that data set contain a set of values. Now, so this is the data schema. You can see here, this is collection view. Now what is going to happen is the data set is converted into collections, and after that, based on the manual configuration, the passages are by transforming collections. So here you can see collection view. So these are the configuration which are set by us. Now you can see here, this is our data set named health tips and tricks.docx, and this is our document view where the whole data set is further divided into various passages. Now it is a processed way, or to provide the user uh, the more relevant answer. So this is the answer in a text format. Now so the relevancy training is done on the various queries, like you can see. So here are various queries, and we provided the best suitable result to them. So you can create queries from here. Now I'm going to show you one of the queries, which is give some suggestions for selecting a blood pressure measurement unit. So how the bot is going to provide the result to the user? So we are pre-trained these queries. So here are multiple options or the multiple answer where we set the relevancy. So this uh, this is how we provide the relevancy to the particular queries. So there are three passages on the screen. So here is two options, relevant or not relevant. So for the particular query which we choose, this is the most suitable answer. So we give them relevancy, and rest of two we selected as not relevant. So on every time if a user is going to input the query regarding this blood pressure unit, so the most relevant answer is going to display on the bot. So this is how we wrap up the IBM Watson discovery service. And now finally integrate the IBM Watson Assistant APIs with the IBM Watson Discovery APIs. So now my teammate Akash Jain is going to tell you about the brief description of the solution.
So as my friend rightly said, that we followed agile methodology where we basically divided our project into set of different modules. Now, while beginning with the implementation of source code for the business model, we basically divided the project into set of modules where we firstly created app.js, a Node.js based file as a backend to provide the backend service for our model. Secondly, we tried to, since we have implemented the entire project on our local system, we wanted it to be deployed on the IBM Cloud as well. So what we did is we created the manifest.yml. Manifest.yml file is just a manifesto which where we have to provide certain set of configurations. Now these configuration has to do something with while deploying, while essentially deploying our project into the IBM Cloud. So let's see the hierarchy which we generated while creating the project. We used Eclipse as an IDE for developing our entire project. As you can see, we have created the MyHealthBot chatbot, MyHealth chatbot as a project, and here we designed our app.js file. Now in app.js file, we have set of different modules to be associated with, like we have used Express to generate the app server, to call the app server whenever required. It's a predefined module which is available there in the Watson libraries, and Node.js references for the Watson integration. Since you can see, we have Watson Developer Cloud as well, which is basically another module to be integrated with. And since we have used HTTP request methods, which is basically the post method which we have used, where you can see the post method is actually used while transferring the calls for the authentication, where the header, where the input, or whether whatever the input string is there, is remain conserved and it doesn't comes up in everyone's eye. So post is generally used while sharing the credentials with, while calling the APIs, the REST APIs. So you can see we have used assistant function here in the Node.js, in the as a Node.js functionality. Where we have used username and password to be shared with while calling the REST APIs from the Watson. Now we have used discovery also, since we have integrated both of these services in the project, and assistant and discoveries are the two REST APIs, and post method is also implemented here, which is basically used, uh, as I rightly said and I had said before also. And these are some set of extra logics which we tried to implement it, but since we are still in our learning phase, we are still working on them, and we'll definitely try to come up with these solutions in the near future. Now, since this conversation and discoveries are the APIs which has to be called with, these are the functions which we implemented out there. And now these are like whenever the credentials doesn't get matched while calling the APIs from the Node.js, this error function will be get called, and ultimately the authentication will get failed. Now these are the set of context actions, like these are the actions which we have, these are the context variables which we have created for the conversation service, at the conversation service of the Watson to be interacted with discovery instance. Like you can see here, we have this health skill, and within this we have created some context variables for each and every node. Like we have context variable here, two context variables we have created, query and action. Now these two variables are actually associated with the node.js code modules which we have created. Now these query and action has got some important things to do, which we have basically created in our JS, means their definitions are basically available in our JS files. Now how they are working, let's see there. Let's see in our app.js file. So yes, so since we are calling at action, now what at that action will be done, this action will be soon be recognized with the discovery, and soon whenever the action will be called, the discovery will be automatically generated. Since we are using this context variable here, we are fetching the response from the assistant API, and this that response will be held in this context variable natural language query data context dot query. So as discovery generates a lot of passages, so these passages will be counted here, and accordingly those passages will be traversed. And what these APIs actually does is they basically generate JSON response. JSON are basically JavaScript or object notation based response, where a set of responses are there and we have to parse them in our local console. And these since we are testing our project on a local console, so we kind of fetch those JSON response one by one. Like you can see here, we are fetching the response results with the JSON, with the JSONs, and this is generally the parsing which is being done just to fetch the automated response from the Watson discovery. Now these are set of passages which we basically used a loop here, which is basically traversing there, and automatically the relevant document ID and basically the passages is basically generated. So this is the entire basic business logic which we followed. And since you can see this div we have created, this div basically appeared when user just click on this particular uh, page over here. Like if like let's say we test a particular query over here. Now let's say the query is, what is heart attack? So this is the query, what is heart attack. Let's press enter here. Now this the response is coming from Watson assistant and discovery. Now how the discovery role is there, since as soon as the user wants to expect some more detailed response, like let's say user wants to know something more detailed format of heart attack, about heart attack. Okay, user wants to know something more relevant stuff about heart attack, so you'll just need to click over here the entire document, and this div appears. This div contains the entire response from the discovery, from the IBM Watson discovery, which we are basically fetched as a JSON response over the app.js file. Okay, from the app.js file, and we created the required logics to generate this div. So you can see basically this div is basically created here. Like this div is basically created here over this passage, and this div is basically fetching the entire response, and we provided the relevant business logic to basically parse the response from the discovery which we are getting. And this is update message, this is just a relevant function which has to be done there. And once the entire thing has been done, we are basically exporting the entire file, and this has to be the last statement of our app.js file. Now what about manifest.yml? At manifest.yml is something very important. This file is actually has to do whenever we want to integrate our local API with the cloud, Watson cloud, or basically we want to deploy our project, the local project which is basically running over our local console. This local project is now be going to deployed over IBM Cloud. Now, so this is the manifesto which has to be there. Like these are the services which we have to specify in our manifest file. because because any cloud service uh, ex- expect from the developer these many these many configurations, like how much memory is your application is going to use. Like our application can use maximum of 256 MB of space over the IBM cloud, and if it exceeds, then our application is never going to be deployed. Now this npm start has is the command which is basically we are using on our local console. With that we are using some set of node modules as well, and let's see what happens next as and when we uploaded this entire project over the IBM cloud. So let's see. So this is the API which is being generated once we have deployed our solution over the IBM cloud. So you can see. Now we are going to integrate our bot with the Facebook. Facebook is essentially a social platforming site, and where social platform, and it basically helps us to communicate with the different set of users all across the world. Now we want our bot to get associated with the Facebook. For that, IBM Watson itself provides some development APIs to integrate, and Facebook itself provides some set of developer APIs with which you can basically integrate whatever kind of services you deploy on IBM Cloud. So since we have created this health skill, we have tried to integrate this health skill with the Facebook out there. now now since we are using this Facebook as a Facebook page which is already being created by us. Now as you can see this Facebook page over here, we are using this app as healthbot is our page name, and we are directly using this app with the test button over here. So you can see as soon as I click on the test button, the entire application got generated. Now since we have generated our application on the IBM cloud, we have deployed it on the cloud as we have already seen that. Now with the development let's now test how it is working. So let's say I wanted to know about how I wanted to know about healthy earth. All right, we have already did that before. Let's say I wanted to know about heart attack. So let's see. So you can see that uh, the heart attack also is mapped with the same response that was generated earlier. This is because these two queries are in the same relevance. So this means our example is going working perfectly. Now let's say I am closing this session, the session of interacting with the bot, and again I am going to restart the means I am again going to reload the page. Now how I am going to monitor this conversation with the end user, and Watson essentially is interacting with the end user. So how, being a developer, I am going to monitor this. So let's see that as well. Now we have here IBM Watson Assistant, and we have improvement panel over here where we can actually monitor our day-to-day conversation with the bot. Now these are some user conversation panel, and these are the these are the actual conversation which is being taken place. So we can monitor them as well. So it's taking some moment. So you can see these are the logs which are basically generated, like as we have typed, I wanted to know about heart attack, I wanted to know about healthy heart. So these are the queries which are being typed in by me. I can monitor the entire conversation. Like I am even can monitor the entire conversation. I wanted to know about the heart attack. So you can see this is the conversation which is being mapped over here. Okay, and I can again and if the user is not satisfied in his conversation, then I can definitely change the entire monitoring or the flow of the conversation. All right, so let's say I'm closing up this session. Okay, and let's say how the bot reacts with some negative queries. Okay, something which the bot essentially cannot recognize. Let's say I'm typing this. So see that Watson is going to respond with, I didn't get your meaning. Okay, again I am going to use some unrelevant queries, and again the bot is trying to say that he is still learning, or he is not satisfied with what he is not able to understand your intentions behind that what you exactly wanted to ask. All right, so that is how we wrapped up our entire project. That is how we basically developed our project, and this brings us to the end of our project. All right, with the development phase. And now my friend is going to tell you about the future scope and the conclusion.
So coming to the future scope of our model, it has various advantages to the various fields in the modern world, but mainly it has greater advantages in medical fields and business analytics or many others. So uh, with this model, uh, not only the IBM Watson Assistant and Discovery Service are integrated, but there are many more APIs we should integrate or we can integrate with our model. Those are like tone analyzer and image recognition. So now I'm going to conclude our presentation. Watson learning and training process is a continuous development process. So the more data you can uh, expose to the Watson, and the more accurate results you can expect from the bot or from the model. Now finally, signing off the message from my friend Kash Jain.
Literally speaking, it was not that easy, and of course, it was a very good use case to work with, and we got a very nice opportunity to work with the TCS, of course, in the competition scenario, and it's a research and development process which we followed, where we kind of researched about the topic, the use case which was basically given by the TCS itself, and we did our best to reach to this solution.
So thank you
Everyone,
everyone
and
and
take care.
take care.